It started as a joke, a story on the internet, something no one was meant to believe. Early 2010s. Online forums thrive on creepypasta, short horror stories written for shock and entertainment. One character spreads faster than the rest. Slender Man ***. Tall. Faceless. A figure said to stalk children and control minds. Everyone knows it's fictional. Except, not everyone. In a quiet Midwestern town in the United States, two young girls become immersed in the myth. What begins as curiosity turns into fixation. They read stories, watch videos, exchange theories. Slowly, the line between fiction and reality blurs. To the outside world, they look like ordinary children. School. Friends. Sleepovers. Nothing alarming. No warnings from teachers. No visible signs for parents to catch. And that's what makes this case so unsettling. The belief doesn't arrive suddenly. It builds, reinforced by repetition, online communities, and imagination. Until Slender Man stops being a story and becomes real to them. They begin to believe he's watching. That he demands loyalty. That proof is required. And that proof will require violence. This wasn't about anger or revenge. It was about belief, powerful enough to convince children that a fictional monster could demand real harm. Once that belief took hold, the story stopped being harmless. It became dangerous. What made the situation so volatile wasn't secrecy. It was shared certainty. The two girls reinforced each other's beliefs. Doubt was immediately countered. Online stories became evidence. Videos became confirmation. Together, they built rules. Slender Man lived in the woods. He could read minds. He punished disloyalty. And he could hurt their families if they failed him. Fear and devotion merged. They began planning, not in panic, but in a logic that made sense to them. Sacrifice wasn't cruelty. It was necessity. A test. They chose someone close. A friend. Someone who trusted them completely. That choice mattered, because it shows how thoroughly empathy had been overridden. This wasn't hatred toward the victim. It was obedience to something they believed was real. At the same time, vulnerabilities deepened. One girl struggled with delusions and severe anxiety. The other with identity, belonging, and influence. Together, those weaknesses multiplied. From the outside, nothing looked extreme enough to stop. Until imagination became action. The plan was set. The time chosen. The place decided. And once belief becomes obligation, stopping feels impossible. The day it happened didn't feel dramatic to them. It felt ordinary. A walk together. Familiar paths. No raised voices. No warning signs. To the victim, nothing seemed wrong. To the two girls, this was a mission. They led her into a wooded area, quiet, isolated, deliberate. A place they believed Slender Man could see, where loyalty could be proven. What followed wasn't rage. It was fear, confusion, and belief colliding. Reality pushed back against fantasy, but by then, turning back felt impossible. Afterward, they didn't run. They walked away. Not because they were indifferent, but because they believed what mattered most came next, reaching Slender Man avoiding punishment. The victim survived. Injured and alone, she crawled out of the woods and reached help. Her account stunned investigators, not just because of what was done, but because of **Y*. Slender Man appeared in police reports. When authorities questioned the girls, they didn't deny it. They spoke calmly, matter-of-factly. They had done it for Slender Man. At that moment, the case stopped being about a fictional character. It became about belief overpowering reality. The justice system hesitated. This wasn't a typical crime. The girls were arrested, but investigators didn't find defiance or conventional remorse. Instead, they found certainty, an unshaken belief that the act was necessary, and that Slender Man was still watching. Psychiatric evaluations followed. Doctors found severe mental illness, delusions, and a fragile grasp on reality, one that had been reinforced instead of challenged. One girl, in particular, showed signs that her connection to reality had been deteriorating long before the attack. The case shifted. This wasn't only about punishment. It was about responsibility. Could children who genuinely believed in a fictional entity understand consequences? Could they be judged like adults? Or did the system need to admit it had no clean answers? Public opinion fractured. Some demanded harsh sentences. Others focused on mental health failures and missed intervention. The courtroom became a space of moral conflict, not just what happened but how society should respond . This wasn't evil in the traditional sense. It was belief gone catastrophically wrong. There was no clean resolution. The court ruled the girls could not be held fully criminally responsible as adults. Instead of prison, they were committed to long-term psychiatric treatment. The focus shifted from punishment to prevention. For many, that felt unsatisfying. Some felt justice was denied. Others believed it was the only humane outcome. The debate was intense, because this case defied simple categories of guilt and innocence. The victim survived. Physically, she recovered. Emotionally, the impact was far deeper. Her resilience remains one of the most important parts of the story, though it is often overshadowed. The broader consequences were unavoidable. This case reshaped conversations about the internet, childhood vulnerability, and untreated mental illness. It forced society to confront a difficult truth. Stories don't remain harmless when belief replaces reality, and when warning signs are missed. Slender Man was never real. But the fear was. The belief was. And the consequences were devastatingly real. This wasn't a story about a monster in the woods. It was a story about how isolation, untreated illness, and unchecked online influence can collide, with irreversible results.